Morning folks, next video coaching tips for you. We've discussed so far the address position, the posture, the grip and rotation exercises and balance and so on. So we're ready now to swing the club. Of course, what makes golf particularly difficult is that it is a static ball sport. It's not a reflex sport, and we've got a lot of time to think about what we're doing, probably too much time. And how do we actually get the club head moving? It would be very simple if we could start from the follow-through position and let the weight of the club swing back and dictate its own path and its own arc. But of course we are, as I said, starting from a static position. You'll see many top players, they'll have their waggles, as we call it, or movement to try and get some sort of movement. But other players, Sevi was a classic example, just stood absolutely rock solid and then took the club away. If you go and buy some coaching books today, or if you've got some at home, there'll be a myriad of information about how to take the club away, whether we push it straight back, the so-called one-piece takeaway, whether we hinge the wrist immediately, where do the wrists hinge, do we consciously try and turn, and on and on and on. And all of those things, of course, would not be relevant if we did actually go from the follow-through and let the club go back. We're not interfering then with the basic movement of that club head, with the centrifugal force of that club and momentum. So we wouldn't go back and just suddenly break the wrists, and we wouldn't go back and then push the club away, because all of those are the very antithesis of the definition of the word swing, in my opinion. So how do we take the club away from a static position? Again, as I've mentioned in videos in the past, in my opinion, it is a simple and gradual hinge to a position where we can support the club in its most skeletally comfortable position and the easiest position to hit the ball from. If I broke that away too quickly, or yes, I can support the club, but it feels quite difficult and it feels quite onerous. And if I push the club away, in other words, delay the wrist hinge, at some point the wrists have got to break, and then we get this delayed flail at the top where the wrist overworks. So one simple continuous hinge on the way back. Again, you can do this at home, and you'll see there at the top of the backswing that there's a lot of width now between my right hand and my spine, so that when I put then the left hand on the club, the left arm is now comfortably straight and I can feel tension there. If the right arm goes back and it goes behind the body, so I've lost the width of my swing, and I then try and put the left hand on, obviously the left arm then has got to break because the right arm's not in the correct position. So if you want the feeling of the correct backswing, just go to halfway to the follow through first and just let the weight of the club again dictate its own path. You feel the momentum of that, and you want to try and get into that momentum as soon as you can from a static position. So one-handed, right-handed work, any of you who have lessons with me on a regular basis will know that I put a lot of emphasis on this, because to me it's a miracle exercise. And all of the things that we can do wrong, such as rolling the club or taking the club the wrong side of the hands, or the right arm flying as it's called, all of those things when I do it one-handed feel very difficult to do. It's much more simplistic to take the club back and support it again in its most comfortable position. So that's the start of the takeaway. If you want the body to react to that, just put your left hand on the forearm of your right arm, and now as I go into my backswing, because they're connected, the body will start to rotate at the same time as well. So here's the top of the backswing, a lot of width in the swing, here's the rotation which we talked about before, and I'm now in a position that I can deliver the club back to the ball with some consistency. So hopefully that will help you as well. If you have any questions, you can always contact me at mikehenningolf@gmail.com. If anything I say doesn't make sense, or you're doing it at home and you think you may be doing it incorrectly, please contact me. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.